Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Organon philosophy, and we are discussing new chapter from Robert's philosophy, that is the drug proving. Certain aspects about the drug proving we have discussed in yesterday's lecture. He has started with the history of drug proving, how Hahnemann came to the conclusion of drug proving, and how the era of drug proving started from the introduction to the law of similars, and thereafter the human proving have started by Hahnemann. Before Hahnemann, it was known to two peoples, but they were not experimented the things, and that's why the Paracelsus as well as the Swedish physician Halle, they knowing that there is one must do the human proving, but they have not experimented and gone ahead with this human proving. Hahnemann was the first one who started doing the or proving the drugs on healthy human being, and then after doing it for years together, he developed certain specific do's and don'ts of provers. He has explained what should be the criteria and 3 points which he has highlighted over there. The first point which he has highlighted, that the quality of drug must be pure one. The second point, which is related with the prover must be intelligent, as well as as far as possible, he might be idiosyncratic, and he should be a healthy one. And third, which is related with the circumstances around that prover, those should be normal and should not disturb or divert the proving. So these are the 3 points which he highlighted, and then he started explaining about the do's of the provers and don'ts of the prover. Certain aspects of it we have understood. The last paragraph which we have discussed, that prover must be intelligent enough to understand the subjective symptoms, and that is more important in homeopathy. Why subjective symptoms are important? Because subjective symptoms are individualistic. Everyone's subjective feeling is different. One person, if I feel pain as a neuralgic type, another person feels it his own type, that is throbbing. Another, it might be heaviness. In another, it might be choking. Everyone's sensation is different. The subjective feeling always gives you identity or human behind the proving remedy. And that's why that type of proving has a lot of importance. Everyone's modalities varies. So it might be a different in one individual, it might be different in another individual. And that's why those provings which are done on healthy human beings gives you a detailed understanding about the remedy, where modalities, the aggravation modalities as well as the amelioration modalities matters a lot. And those subjective modalities, subjective sensations, the subjective concomitant plays a very vital role in homeopathic proving. And we are able to judge very perfect remedy to the patient on the basis of those subjective symptoms and not on objective ones. And that's why he explains over there, if you want a good proving, you must have a prover who has knowledge of perceiving. Perceiving means he is intelligent enough to perceive what is happening with him, what type of sensation he is getting, what type of modalities he is getting, or what type of modalities he used to observe, what type of concomitants he used to observe. All those things matters a lot. And that's what we have discussed on page number 137, last paragraph which we have discussed last time. Let us start with next paragraph from honesty. Honesty is a prerequisite of a good prover. Underline prerequisite of the prover, and most important is honesty. Why honesty? Honesty means pramanikpana. We should be a very trustworthy person who will going to tell each and everything in a detailed manner and will not change the things. So honesty is a prerequisite of a good prover, for he must be very careful to record all phenomena as a fact. He should not add from his mind. Whatever the facts are there, those should be told by the prover as it is. Remember, a proving is a record of facts. What he is saying, proving is a record of facts. Facts means the things which happened as it is are the facts. So Remember, the proving is a record of facts, facts that can be produced repeatedly in others. Therefore, facts must be carefully recorded from the very beginning of the experiment. Yet we must avoid equally skepticism, imaginary phenomena, or the overcoloring of the real facts. Skepticism means a things which comes in ideas, conceptions. It should not be. It should be as it is. Whatever has happened, you write it down. It should not be from the patient's mind only. There should be the facts actually, and that's why there should not be imaginary phenomenon. There should not be anything which is overcoloring. So exaggerated things hampers the proving, and that's why those should be actually facts. Remember always to treat a fact as a fact and do not try to add to or subtract from its importance. What is saying? Remember, it is to treat the fact as a fact, which is nowadays many peoples are going away from this. They comes out with some different imaginary meaning, applies it to the patient, and tells that, yes, I have treated, I have considered this rubric as like that, and this is wrong. Interpretation is always wrong, because when you try to interpret, you comes out with your own remedy, not of the patient's remedy. My suggestion is always that you must look toward the fact and takes the fact as it is. No, don't go on over interpretation. That is more important. It is not for the prover to shift the symptom produced. Treat the facts as they are. Unless one can do this, he will not make a valuable prover. So this is what he is explaining. If you want good proving, the prover should be a very trustworthy. Prover should be very honest to tell you all the facts, whatever have happened in his life after starting the medicine. So right from the start of proving till proving it, he should be very honest regarding his proving, and he should be very honest with you if you are a person who is conducting the proving. So he is giving you qualities of the proven. First important quality which he mentions, or prerequisite which he mentions. Then he says, at the beginning of this work, the prover must be in that state of mental, moral, and physical equilibrium that is characteristic for normal, healthy being. One who is subject to rapid changing equilibrium on any one or all of these planes will not make a good prover. So person should be in a balanced state of mind and physique. He should be in equilibrium. He should not be a passionate person. Where if he get passionate regarding the proving, he will not get the data which is reflected because of drug proving, but reflected from that prover. And he is not a good prover. That's why he says that the prover should be a balanced prover at both mental and moral, physical level. Bear in mind the main and only object in conducting a proving to discover the positive characteristics of the action of the drugs on vital energy of the human being. To obtain the full knowledge of its action so that its powers can be readily distinguished from any other drug, for the lawful application of the remedy in states of disturbed vital energy, which we call disease. So what should be object of proving? Object of proving is to get a detailed, real, factual materia medica, which is based upon facts. If you are able to get all those things, then it is possible to get a good proving, and then it is possible to apply that remedy according to the symptom similarity to the disease injury. We should be able to differentiate one remedy from another remedy, because only when you have good proving of the remedy. And that's why the polycrest, which are already proved since last 2 to 50 years, we are using on same symptomatology or same symptoms which were proved in provers. On the same data we are using it, and we are finding the same results again and again, because that was factual materia medica. And this is the importance of it. And then he says, in making the record, all symptoms must be recorded But we must not forget that many of these symptoms are held in common with many other drugs. While these symptoms possess a certain value in final analysis, we must determine those symptoms of greatest value, especially those which are most peculiar and characteristic of the drug, the rare, the unusual symptoms that distinguish it from all others, because these are the symptoms which will be the curative symptoms, in that they will be the guiding symptoms in selecting the remedy. So very clear idea regarding the proving. He says that it is duty of a physician who is conducting the proving to write down each and every detail, to write down whatever the prover says. But everything is not important from his point of view, because there are some common vague symptoms also. Patient explains, I had body ache. It doesn't have a significance. If patient says, I have feverish, I'm feeling feverish, it doesn't have a significance. Unless that symptom becomes a complete symptom, or that symptom becomes a characteristic symptom. So patient says, doctor, I got tremendous fever, but I want to tell you, during fever, I never had a drop of water in my mouth. I feel absolutely thirstless. See, now the symptom which has getting modified because of the thirst, thirstlessness. So fever with thirstlessness, you can come to a very close remedies, because you got a clear idea. But if you have given only fever, it doesn't have significance. And that's what he is explaining, that whenever you write down and write down the factual materia medica or factual symptoms which are proved by the patients, provers, then you must look toward them, analyze them, and find it out what is common and what is uncommon, what is common and what is characteristic, what is common and what is peculiar. So you have to look for peculiar, queer, rare, strange symptoms which will be useful in finding it out as a minimum to the patient. And then he says, the symptoms such as are held in common by many drugs are not of great value in curative sphere. They are called to be a common symptom. Every symptoms must be recorded without bias or favor. Otherwise, we shall lose unwittingly some of the characteristic symptoms. After all, are after all are recorded, we can then compare all these symptoms with other drug proving. So, if after completing the proving, then it is a time to analyze the proving and then comparing it with the rest of the drug. Then you will find the uniqueness of that proving. Then you will find, yes, this is the symptom which is unique related to that specific remedy. For example, you would have proved the arsenic, and arsenic patient has shown that he had a severe burning of the hands. And he says that, doctor, I'm getting better when I kept it in hot water. Finished. It has completely having a big value because it is rare. Generally, patient who is having burning feels better by cold application. This fellow is telling that it is better by warm application or hot application. So, unless and until you have such types of symptoms proved in the proving, we don't have a characteristic proving, or we cannot call it that proving as an important proving. So, in making proving, two things are to be accomplished. First, that is a detailed record of the order of appearance of all symptoms. Detailed record of order of appearance. Order of appearance, underline that word. Why order of appearance? So what is the first symptom which has came? What is the second? What is the third? What is the fourth? So timing is also important. So how the patient has prover has reacted. What is with which symptom the prover has reacted very fast, and which are symptoms with whom prover has reacted very late. This matters a lot, and that's why we must have that order. And number two, an analysis of the symptoms. So first recording the symptoms in order and then analyzing the symptoms. Why analysis? Unless and until you analyze, you cannot come to the conclusion what are the symptoms which are most important for after the proving. And what are symptoms which are not at all important, which are very common in all patients, all provers. So analysis is second stage. First is recording, and recording in order. In making the analysis, three major points of the all symptoms should be borne in mind. So whenever you analyze symptoms, which are 3 points which Robert says, first is location, second is sensation, and third is modifying character of the symptoms, are called as modalities, together with concomitant or apparently unrelated symptoms. So actually, there should be 4 points. These are not 3 points, these are 4 points. First is location, second is sensation, then third is modalities, and fourth is concomitant. The symptom becomes complete. This is what Bonninghausen says. Bonninghausen's definition of complete symptoms carries 4 characteristics: location, sensation, modality, and concomitant. Even doctrine of concomitants, most importance was given by Bonninghausen first, because it is symptoms which is logically, basically not logically related with the chip complaint, but which appears at the time of chip complaint, has a lot of meaning. And that's why Bonninghausen says if it is present, it has meaning, and it individualizes one patient from the another patient. So whenever you are doing proving, after recording the facts in order, then it is time to analyze. Then you have to write it in a proper manner. What is the location? What is the sensation? What is the modalities, or what are the modalities? And what are the concomitants? Then he further says, the analysis is not complete until we have a comparison of the symptoms with those produced by the other drug proving. Then you have to compare it not only with this remedy, but with the other proving, so that most important thing happens, you understand it in a better manner. Human mind got one gift. That is what Hahnemann said in the definition of vital force. He has got one gift, that is reason giftedness. What is reason gifted? Reason giftedness is logic, science of reasoning. What is reasoning? Reasoning is nothing but analysis. Reasoning is nothing but the comparison. You always reasons, you always compare, you always analyze. This is the method which the human mind works. Anything happens, the two important things happens. First is analysis and second is comparison. Election happens. First is there is analysis and then you start comparing. This is how it works. This also works over here. Even though you do the proving, there should be these two processes should be carried on. First is analysis of the symptoms and then comparing it with the other drugs, so that you better understand the remedy in a perfect manner. If you are learning SINA, my suggestion is that don't learn SINA at a time. If you are learning SINA, come at the same time you learn the chamomilla. If you are learning the lycopodium, always I make a habit that don't read lycopodium only, read lachesis at the same time. Because then you will understand the depth of it, then you will compare the remedies, then you will never forget, because memorization becomes simple after comparison. Having a clear view of real objective of the proving, and having compiled with all requirements to the produce such proving, how do we proceed? So what is it? Once the requirements are fulfilled, once everything is ready, then how one should go ahead. And then he starts with actual proving. First, let us consider dose. So first, what he says? First, consider the dose. First point is related with dose. It may be we shall use the crude drug or low potency or high potency depending upon the nature of the drug. Question arises how to choose in what potency we must do the proving. So that is what he says. How do we determine which to use? There are certain considerations which are sufficiently stable for guiding rules. So there are certain guiding rules which are prepared by Hahnemann. From an apparently inert substances, such as lycopodium, the carbovage, or the graphitis, we can obtain a good proving only from high potency. Therefore, we may take as an axiom. So first axiom, right over there, first, Number one, axiom means it is a rule of utilizing drugs during proving. First rule, any drug which in its natural state affects the vital energy but little will develop, proving only in a high potency. So those inert substances in crude form never produce any change in the human body but have a medicinal qualities, then those should be proved in high potency. Then and then you can get the proving, otherwise you don't. So this is first axiom which he has mentioned. Number two, other drugs having very strong action upon the human economy in their natural state, such as lobelia inflecta, ipecac, cicuta, tabacum, it is not tabacum, it is tabacum, may be used in crude form. Any drug which in its natural, say this is second axiom, this is second, any drug which in its crude form or natural state disturbs the vital energy to functional manifestations only may be proven in crude form. Tabacum and lobelia inflata, they are one and same or very close to each other. Lobelia inflata is the Indian tobacco. Tabacum is tobacco. That's the difference only. So what happens if person consumes it in crude form? I don't have any experience, so I cannot explain. But if you know, just or if anyone consumes, ask them why do they consume the tobacco? What happens whenever they use it in crude form? They utilize certain words for it. Talafete, that's what they say. What do they say? It stimulates the mind. It stimulates everything. That is what is the word they used to use. It is a stimulant. And in crude form, it is a stimulant. Same is true with the coffee. Same is true with the mm, onion. Onion, even you don't eat, affects your vital energy. So this is very important. Those medicinal products which in their crude form affect the vital energy strongly, they must be proved in crude form first. That is what he said. And then what he says, still other drugs such as mercurius group, which are actively poisonous in crude form, can be proven only in high potencies. So third axiom which he writes over there, any drug which in its natural state disturbs the vital energy to the destructive manifestation should be proved only in a potentized form. So three axioms which he tried to explain related with the dose, how to select the dose of the proving. So either you have to prove it in good form, either you have to prove it in low potency, either you have to go for higher potency. It depends what type of drug substance which you want to prove. In other words, we determine the plane of drug which we wish to use by consideration of the object we desire to attain. The object of proving is to produce characteristics of the drugs as they manifest in disease states. So underline this, the object of proving. What is the object? To produce the characteristics of the drug substance so that you can utilize it in future. So this is what he wants to explain. There are many things which we have to learn it, but I think we'll stop over here and we'll continue with it tomorrow. Most probably in this week, we're going to finish this chapter, the drug proving, and then we'll go ahead. So many new things which we're going to learn while learning this Robert's philosophy regarding the drug proving, and these are important because we must know all those details also. If we are learning homeopathy, we must know all pros and cons, because if any allopath asks you, we must know how to prove the drugs, how we go ahead in proving, or how our medicines are proved in pharmacies. We must have that knowledge. And for that purpose, he writes all those details. So that's all for today. Thank you being there. We'll meet tomorrow, and also today evening I will going to share one more remedy from third year syllabus. Very important again, a selenium metallicum or selenium. So be there at 8:15 and we'll meet and we'll learn the selenium in today's session. Thanks a lot and good evening.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.